Fred Rowe from Sarah Bright Fly Fishing Guide Service. I've been teaching, guiding, writing, and lecturing on fly fishing since 1982. Well, let's get to this week's fly fishing report for October 17th through the 23rd. Well, my favorite month, Sept-Oct, is done and over. Man, what a great month it is. So what's in store for us? Well, we've had our first big winter storm come and go. So hopefully it means things will warm up again. I'm kind of a little disappointed. I'm back to jeans and tennis shoes. No more flip-flops and shorts. No more wet wading. Time for waders and boots. And we'll be like that for the rest of winter. So let's talk about what's going on with the actual fishing. Okay? East Walker River. Well, this is probably going to be my last report for a little while, unless I get back up there, because other stuff's been so good, I just don't have time to get up there. So what are we doing up there? Well, we're midging. We're nymphing with midges. We're also using beadhead flashback pheasant tails. We're using olive quildagons. We're using stoner nymphs. And using a Euro rod is what's been producing the most fish. And if you want to pull streamers, you're going to cover a lot of water, but you're going to get some big fish to hit your streamers up there. So you got to cover a lot of water. You know you're only going to get a few hits, and you only have even less hookups. So you got to do your best to land those big fish, but you're going to get fish in the 20 to 24 inch range, which those are huge fish for Eastern Sierra standards. Okay, let's hit down the hill to the Owens River upper. So what are we doing there? Well, I had a client the other day caught what I would consider the rarest rainbow trout on the upper Owens River in the 18, 19 inch range. Why was it rare? Because big fish generally don't come to the surface to take small dry flies. And he caught his fish on a size 14 Adams parachute. It just doesn't happen often. I can only think of one other fish that took a dry fly, and I was shocked about that one, equally as shocked about this one. So what are we primarily fishing up there? Well, the big fish, they want a big meal, and they're looking for it to be delivered to them down on the substrate. And I'm fishing the deep holes, deep runs, and deep pools where they're resting and feeding. So I'm using my size 12 stoner nymph. I'm using a size 12 green gold wire prince nymph. I'm using a size 14 copper john, and we're using size 12 gold rib hare's ear variations. But then for the regular fish, and this is what we did last week, was these guys wanted to fish dry flies. So we were using a dry and a dry. So we're using a size 14 or 16 Adams parachute with a size 20 Trico female parachute. And they caught a bunch of fish doing that. And then in the afternoon, we switched to an elk hair caddis. So that's kind of what we're doing for the little fish up there. Okay, let's go over to Hot Creek. Hot Creek, not sure how good it'll fish right after this week, because California Department of Fish and Wildlife is electroshocking it this week. So usually those fish respond really well, but just be aware, could slow down a little bit. And who knows what the weather's going to do. But as we get this bad weather, I'm looking for the blueing olive hatch. And for the for Hot Creek rather, what we're going to do in that water is we're going to fish size 20 blueing olive parachutes. We're going to use sparkle duns in size 20, and then under the surface nymphing, I'm going to use a size 18 olive quildagon. I'm going to use a size 18 beadhead flashback pheasant tail. Okay, let's slip over to Hot Creek. Heard it slow down just a little bit. I'm sure it's this weather front that came through that slowed it down, but I think as soon as this storm goes through, it'll be back to its normal self. Doing what? Yeah, midging in there. But this is the time of year I love throwing big streamers. So size 6'10s, woolly buggers, olive matukas, work them in and around the weed beds, use a sinking line. And a lot of guys Don't do it in the boats, but in the float tubes, it's a great way to get up close to those weed beds and fish for those big fish. Okay, let's head down the hill to the lower Owens River. Man, it's down to 100 CFS, great for wading, great for fishing. Seeing lots of little fish, that's great for future population because all our fish come from wild fish. So if we don't see little fish, it means we're not going to get bigger fish in the future. So it's great that we're catching those guys. And then we're also catching bigger fish. I saw a fellow guide post a huge brown trout for the lower Owens. So we're getting little fish, we're getting big fish. What are we doing? Well, we're primarily nymphing there under an indicator or with a Euro rig. And what are we fishing with? Well, what's hatching are small mayflies. So I'm using size 18 or size 20 olive quilligons, beadhead flashback, pheasant tails. I'm using tiger minches. I'm using zebra minches, and I've also been playing around with size 16 and 18 green gold wire brassies. Okay, let's head over to where? Bishop Creek Canal. Well, it's kind of been hit hard this summer, but if you work it hard, cover a lot of water, you're going to find brown trout in there and the occasional holdover rainbow stocked trout. Okay, so what are we doing in there? We're still looking for the trico hatch. So first thing in the morning to mid-morning, there's been fish rising for tricos. Kind of late in the month to be seeing them, but yeah, we're getting them in there. So I'm using a size 20 trico spinner in there, and they're coming up and taking it. Then the rest of the day, I'm fishing nymphs. So I'm fishing my size 12 stoner. I'm fishing a size 16 hotspot pheasant tail. I'm fishing a size 18 olive quilligon, and I'm using tiger midges and zebra midges in size 18. And then I'm also fishing with size 18 olive quilligons. So head up the hill. Oh yeah, head up the hill to Bishop Creek. Guess what? Up in the canyon, they got snow up there. So you're gonna have to deal with that. But fresh snow, and if there's fall leaves left, man, doesn't make for a better picture than snow on the mountains and fall colors. Fishing wise though, got to deal with all the traffic to get in and out of there because everybody's going up there to do the fall colors. But if you can get to the creeks, I love bushwhacking. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm using a size 16 stimulator with a size 16 tiger minch. And I'm catching brown trout and I'm catching brook trout. Well, this has been Fred Rowe from Sarah Bright Fly Fishing Guide Service. You can find me every Tuesday in Bishop at Mahogany Sports. Mahogany Smoked Meats. Doing Tuesday Talks with Fred. Then you can find me on Instagram and on Facebook and my favorite, lpptv.us.